Hello friends, welcome to ePathshala. Today we will discuss the most important topic, that is wetland protection. First we will discuss and introduce what exactly is wetland, what are the different definitions given to this concept, what are the different types of wetlands. We will discuss the characteristics of the wetlands, we will discuss the effect of climate on this important aspect. Then we'll discuss the threats to the wetland, and most important, how we can conserve and protect wetland. What are different legislations which are there for the protection of the wetlands. Let's start with the topic. We'll introduce the topic. A wetland is a land area that is saturated with water either permanently or seasonally, such that it takes on the characteristics of a distinct ecosystem. Primary factor that distinguishes wetland from other landforms or water bodies is the characteristic vegetation of aquatic plants adapted to the unique hydric soil. Wetlands play a number of roles in the environment, principally water purification, flood control, carbon sink and shoreline stability. Wetlands are also considered the most biologically diverse of all ecosystems, serving as a home to wide range of plants and animal life. Wetlands occur naturally on every continent except Antarctica. The largest includes the Amazon River Basin, the West Siberian Plain and the Peninsula in South Africa. The water found in wetlands can be freshwater, brackish or salt water. The main wetland types include swamps, marshes, bogs and fens, and subtypes include mangroves, carpoosin and varves. Now the main definition of wetland. A patch of land that develops pool of water after rainstorm would not be considered a wetland even though the land is wet. Wetlands have unique characteristics. They are generally distinguished from other water bodies or landforms based on their water level and on the types of plants that live within them. Specifically, wetlands are characterized as having a water table that stands at or near the land surface for a long enough period each year to support aquatic plants. A more concise definition is a community composed of hydric soil and hydrotype. Wetlands have also been described as ecotones, providing a transition between dry land and water bodies. Mish and Gosling write that wetlands exist at the interface between truly terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic systems, making them inherently different from each other, yet highly dependent on both. Now, if we discuss the technical definition, a wetland is an ecosystem that arises when inundation by water produces soil dominated by anaerobic process, which in turn forces the biota, particularly rooted plants, to adapt to flooding. There are four main kinds of wetlands: marsh, swamp, bog and fen. Some experts also recognize wet meadows and aquatic ecosystems as additional wetland types. The largest wetland in the world includes the swamp forest of Amazon and peatlands of Siberia. Now, as per Ramsar Convention, Article 1.1, wetlands are areas of marsh, fen, peatland or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporarily, with water that is static or flowing, fresh or brackish or salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters. Article 2.1, wetlands may incorporate riparian and coastal zones adjacent to wetlands and islands or bodies of marine water deeper than 6 meters at low tide lying within the wetlands. Ecology of wetlands. The most important factor producing wetlands is flooding. The duration of flooding determines whether the resulting wetland has aquatic, marsh or swamp vegetation. Other important factors include fertility, natural disturbance, competition, herbivory, burial and salinity. When peat accumulates, bogs and fens arise. Characteristics of wetland. Wetlands vary widely due to local and regional differences in topography, hydrology, vegetation and other factors including human involvement. Wetlands can be divided into two main classes: tidal and non-tidal areas. Hydrology. Wetland hydrology is associated with spatial and temporal dispersion, flow and physiochemical attributes of surface and groundwater in its reservoirs. Based on hydrology, wetlands can be characterized as riverine, lacustrine, and palestrine. Sources of hydrological flows in wetlands are predominantly precipitation, surface water, and groundwater. Water flows out of wetlands by evapotranspiration, surface runoff, and subsurface water outflow. Hydrodynamics, the movement of water through and from wetland, affects hydro periods by controlling the water balance and water storage within a wetland. Landscape characteristics control wetland hydrology and hydrochemistry. The oxygen and carbon dioxide concentrations of water depend on temperature and atmosphere pressure. Role of salinity. Salinity has a strong influence on wetland water chemistry, particularly in wetlands along the coast. In riverine wetlands, natural salinity is regulated by interactions between ground and surface water, which may be influenced by human activity. Soil. Carbon is a major nutrient cycled within wetlands. Most nutrients such as sulfur, phosphorus, carbon and nitrogen are found within the soil of wetlands. Anaerobic and aerobic respiration in the soil influences the nutrient cycling of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen, and the solubility of phosphorus, thus contributing to the chemical variation in its water. Biota. The biota of wetland system includes its vegetation zones and structures as well as animal population. The most important factor affecting the biota is duration of flooding. The chemistry of water flowing into wetlands depends on the source of water and geological material in which it flows through, as well as the nutrients discharged from organic matter in the soils and plants at higher elevations in slope wetlands. Biota may vary within wetlands due to season or recent flood regimes. Flora. There are 4 groups of hydrotypes found in wetland. Submerged wetland vegetation. It grows saline and freshwater conditions, with some having underground flowers while others having long stem to allow the flowers to reach the surface. Floating water plants or floating vegetation, which is usually small like arrow. Forested wetlands are generally known as swamps. The upper level of these swamps is determined by high water levels, which are negatively affected by dams. Some swamps can be dominated by a single species, such as silver maple swamps around the Great Lakes. Others, like those of Amazon basin, have large number of different tree species. Examples include cypress and mangrove. Fauna. Fish are more dependent on wetland ecosystem than any other type of habitat. 75% of United States commercial fish and shellfish stocks depend solely on estuaries to survive. Tropical fish species need mangroves for critical hatchery and nursery grounds, and the coral reef system for food. Amphibians such as frogs need both terrestrial and aquatic habitat in which to reproduce and feed. Reptiles such as alligators and crocodiles are common reptilian species. Mammals include species of small mammals in addition to large herbivorous and apex species such as beaver, swamp, rabbit and panther. Insects and invertebrates total more than half of 100,000 known animal species in wetlands. Algae. Algae are diverse water plants that can vary in size, color and shape. Algae occur naturally in habitats such as inland lakes, intertidal zones and damp soil, and provide a dedicated food source for animals, fish and invertebrates. There are 3 main groups of algae. Plankton are algae which are microscopic, free-floating algae. This algae is so tiny that on average, if 50 of the microscopic algae were lined up end to end, it would only measure 1 millimeter. Plankton are the basis of food web and are responsible for primary production in ocean using photosynthesis to make food. Filamentous algae are long strands of algae cells that form floating mats. Cora and Natilla algae are upright algae that look like a submerged plant with roots. Now, climate in wetlands. temperatures. Temperatures vary greatly depending on the location of the wetland. Many of world's wetlands are in temperate zone. In these zones, summers are warm and winters are cold, but temperatures are not extreme. However, wetlands found in tropics around the equator are warm all year round. Wetlands on the Arabian Peninsula, for example, can reach 50 degrees centigrade and would therefore be subjected to rapid evaporation. In northeastern Siberia, which has a polar climate, wetland temperature can be as low as minus 50 degrees centigrade. In moderate zones such as Gulf of Mexico, a typical temperature might be 11 degrees centigrade. Wetlands are almost located in every climate zone. Rainfall. The amount of rainfall a wetland receives vary widely according to its area. Wetlands in Wales, Scotland and Western Ireland typically receive about 1500 mm per year. In some places in Southeast Asia, very heavy rains occur. In northern areas of North America, wetlands exist where as little as 180 mm of rainfall each year. Now, most important, the uses of wetlands. The function of natural wetlands can be classified by their ecosystem benefits. United Nations Millennium Ecosystem Assessment and Ramsar Convention found wetlands to be a biosphere significance and societal importance in following areas: flood control, groundwater replenishment, shoreline stabilization and storm protection, water purification, reservoirs of biodiversity, wetland products, cultural values, recreation and tourism, climate change mitigation and adoption. Major threats to wetland. Industrial threats. A major threat is the draining of wetlands for commercial development, including tourism facilities or agricultural land. In addition, unwise use of fresh water to feed these developments poses a further threat. In all too many places, the amount of water being taken from nature's underground aquifer is far outstripping its ability to replenish itself. The result is that as the water level drops, millions of trees and plants are dying because they are deprived of their life-sustaining supplies. Hundreds of thousands of hectares of wetland have been drained for agriculture. Globally, agriculture accounts for 65% of the total water withdrawal on earth. Agriculture and other industries such as paper making are often very wasteful and inefficient with water. Invasive species. Alien invasive species have had severe impacts on local aquatic flora and fauna and can upset the natural balance of an ecosystem. For example, the introduction of Nile perch to Lake Victoria has pushed many of the lake's native species to extinction. Development. Floodplain development often directly impacts wetlands by removing vegetation, increasing bank erosion and filling or draining wetlands for building sites. Floodplain development sometimes indirectly impacts riparian wetlands through the installation of artificial stream stabilizing devices like riprap and bulkheads that attempt to stop the natural meandering process, which creates new wetlands and replenishes existing ones. Road building. Most river valleys have roads or railroads. These structures squeeze rivers and streams by narrowing the floodplain. This destabilizes the river, which has less room to meander and therefore has an excess of energy. The roads and railroads also affect drainage from uplands onto floodplains, and many are built on top of areas that once were wetlands. Such roads often create long, low quality wetlands upslope of road by interrupting surface and groundwater flows. These wetlands can attract wildlife dangerously close to roads. Wetland loss caused by roads is mitigated through the restoration of other impacted wetlands, although the replacement wetlands are not always of the same type and quality as those lost. Grazing. Overgrazing harms wetlands through soil compaction, removal of vegetation and stream bank destabilization. Wetlands offer some of the best forage for livestock as well as a water source and cover, so livestock tends to spend a disproportionately large time in wetlands. There are many grazing strategies that discourage cattle from using Wetland agriculture. Wetlands often have fairly flat areas of rich organic soil that is highly productive agricultural land if drained. Mining. Historic mining has had a major impact on wetland of the Clark Fork Basin, particularly along the upper river, where mine waste have been deposited in the floodplain, creating the country's largest Superfund site. The Environment Pollution Assessments also list the following as major human causes of wetland loss: logging, runoff, air and water pollution. Specific damaging actions taking place in wetlands. Dumping fill material buries hydric soils and effectively lowers the water table, so hydric water loving plants cannot compete with upland plants. Dredging. The removal of material from wetland or riverbed. Dredging of stream lowers the surrounding water table and dries up adjacent wetlands. Draining. Water is drained from wetlands by cutting ditches into ground, which collect and transport water out of wetland. This lowers the water table and dries out the wetland. Diverting flow. Water is diverted around wetlands, lowering the water table. Devegetation. Vegetation plays an important role in wetland ecology by removing water through evapotranspiration, altering water and soil chemistry, providing habitat for wildlife and reducing erosion. Removal of vegetation can drastically and sometimes irreversibly alter wetland function. Damming flow. Many ponds and reservoirs are constructed on wetlands. A flooded wetland cannot provide the same habitat and functions. Development of springs. Pumping large quantities of water from spring lowers nearby groundwater and can result in the loss of wetland vegetation. Compaction of springs by cattle can cause springs to cease to flow. Wetlands and climate change. Wetlands perform important function in relation to climate change. They have mitigation effects through their ability to sink carbon and adsorption effects through their ability to store and regulate water. Wetlands store approximately 44.6 million tons of carbon per year globally. Wetlands are a significant source of methane emissions. They also are emitters of nitrous oxide, a major greenhouse gas. Low water and occasional drying of wetland bottom during droughts stimulate plant recruitment from a diverse seed bank and increase productivity by mobilizing nutrients. Wetland conservation. Since the 1970s, more focus has been put on preserving wetlands for their natural function. Yet, by 1993, half the world's wetland had been drained. Wetlands provide a valuable flood control function. Wetlands are very effective at filtering and cleaning water pollution. In order to produce sustainable wetlands, short-term private sector profits need to come secondary to the global equity. Decision makers must evaluate wetland type, provided ecosystem service, long-term benefit and current subsides, inflating valuation on either the private or the public sector side. Ramsar Convention. The Ramsar Convention on Wetlands of International Importance, especially as a water flow habitat, is an international treaty for the conservation and sustainable use of wetlands. It is also known as the Convention on Wetlands. It is named after the city of Ramsar in Iran, where the convention was signed in 1971. Every 3 years, representatives of contracting parties meet at Conference of Contracting Parties, the policy-making organ of convention which adopts decisions to administer the work of convention and improve the way in which parties are able to implement its objective. The most recent COP12 was held in Punta Ugansi in 2015. The list of wetlands international importance include more than 2000 sites, with United Kingdom having most of such sites. Balancing wetlands with conservation with the needs of people. A 3-year project carried out by Wetland International in partnership with International Water Management Institute found that it is possible to conserve wetland while improving the livelihoods of people living among them. Case studies conducted in Malawi in Zambia looked at how Dambo's wet grassy valleys or depressions where water sweeps to surface can be framed sustainably to improve livelihoods. The project outcome included high yield of crops, development of sustainable farming techniques and adequate water management, generating enough water for use as irrigation. The Sustainable Development Goals also calls for different sectors to join forces to secure wetland environment in the context of sustainable development and improving human well-being. Wildlife conservation in India. Wetlands are not delineated under any specific administrative jurisdiction. The primary responsibility for the management of these ecosystems is in the hands of the Ministry of Environment and Forest. Although some wetlands are protected after the formulation of Wildlife Protection Act, protection laws and government initiative wetland conservation in India is indirectly influenced by an era of policy, legislative measures. Some of the key legislators are given below. The Indian Fisheries Act 1857, the Indian Forest Act 1927, Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, Territorial Water, Continental Shelf, Exclusive Economic Zone and Other Marine Zones Act 1976, Maritime Zone of India, Regulation and Fishing by Foreign Vessels Act 1980, Forest Conservation Act 1980. Environment Protection Act 1986, Coastal Zones Regulation Notifications 1991, Wildlife Protection Amendment Act 1991, National Conservation Strategy and Policy, Statement on Environment and Development 1992, National Policy and Macro Level Strategy 1999. That's what we expect and feel that we should come together and help our researchers, policymakers and legislators to make new laws and do the research for the protection of wetland. Thank you.